Most men aren't killed by pressure. They are killed by how they suppress it. You think swallowing your anger, your anxiety, is a sign of strength? You think hiding your shaking hands is stoicism? You're wrong. That isn't strength. That is slow-motion destruction. Science calls this allostatic load. I call it a high-interest debt against your own biology. Every time you fake calm, you are borrowing health from your future. And the bill always comes due when you least expect it. A heart attack at 45, divorce papers on a Tuesday morning, or a total mental collapse right when you reach the peak of your career. Your fake groundedness isn't fooling anyone. It is corroding you. In this video, I'm not going to teach you how to endure more pain. I'm going to teach you how to neutralize pressure the moment it appears, so you stop being a ticking time bomb and finally become the fortress you were meant to be. But before we begin, a warning. The solution I am about to give you is deceptive. It is almost too simple. You won't need an hour of meditation. You won't need to escape to the mountains. These are micro actions. They take seconds, not hours. But do not mistake simple for optional. Because here is the trap. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. If you ignore these mechanics, you don't just stay the same. You deteriorate. You continue to pay that high-interest debt until your body declares bankruptcy. But if you apply them, the game changes immediately. It's not about willpower, it's about mechanics. I'm going to show you the biological switches inside your own nervous system. Once you see how the machine actually works, fixing it isn't a struggle. It becomes automatic. Let's flip the switch. Let's open the hood. It's time to see what's really broken. On paper, you are a success. You show up. You execute. You keep the world moving. Society sees a man who is operational, but the mirror sees a man who is eroding. You are good at hiding the difference. And that is exactly the problem. Because when you are an expert at performing stability, no one sees the smoke rising from the engine. Let's call this what it actually is. You are not just stressed. You are trapped in a biological paradox called high-functioning freeze. Imagine a car. Your life demands you to move forward, so you floor the gas pedal. That's your ambition. But your nervous system senses danger, so it slams on the brakes. That's your suppression, gas and brake, at the same time. To the outside observer, the car is standing still. It looks calm. It looks grounded. But inside, the tires are bald. The transmission is grinding, and the engine is quietly catching fire. You feel this friction every day. It's not panic. It's not rage. It is a state of static, a background radiation of anxiety that never fully turns off. It hums in your chest the moment you wake up. It spikes in the silence when someone asks, "How are you?" And without checking the dashboard, you answer, "I'm good." Not because it's true, but because it's a reflex. You say it to keep them away from the heat. But later, when the world finally shuts up, your body presents the bill. Your jaw locks. Your breath gets shallow, caged high in your chest. You tell yourself, you're just tired. You are lying. You are not tired. You are overheated. You have been running at maximum RPM with the emergency brake pulled up for 10 years. And because you were taught that noise equals weakness, you clamp down harder. You treat the warning lights as distractions. You think endurance means letting the engine burn. This is why you eventually snap. This is why the breakdown, when it comes, is always violent. A minor mistake, a bill, a tone of voice. Suddenly, you explode. You aren't reacting to the spilled coffee. You are reacting to a decade of friction finally creating a spark. And then comes the shame. I should be stronger than this. Why can't I handle this? Listen to me, brother. The problem isn't that you are weak. The problem is that you are trying to drive with the parking brake on, and you are wondering why you smell smoke. You don't need more discipline. You don't need to try harder. You need to take your foot off the brake before the whole system burns down. You didn't learn this in a single moment. You were drafted into a silent war without basic training. The uniform was a suit. The weapon was silence. And the only rule was simple. Don't flinch. No one explained the cost. You just absorbed it. You learned to swallow the hurt, to bury the fear. You learned that to be a man meant to be immovable. But this training didn't make you a soldier. It made you a target. Here is why. You confuse stiffness with strength. You think to stay grounded in the storm, you must turn yourself into stone. But look at nature. In a hurricane, the rigid tree is the first to snap. The flexible grass is the one that survives. Check your body right now. Shoulders locked, breath shallow, jaw tight. You think that is a power stance. It isn't. That is a trauma posture. That is the stance of a victim waiting to be hit. And you have been holding that pose for 10 years. But the physical toll is nothing compared to what it's doing to your mind. You judged your stability by one metric. How much can I carry without dropping anything? So you built a dam. You called it Stoicism. But Stoicism processes emotion. The dam just holds it. Every truth you didn't speak added pressure to the wall, and you have no idea how close that wall is to bursting. For years, it worked. As long as you were functioning, you told yourself you were grounded, but you didn't notice the cracks forming in the dark. Sleep got lighter. Patience got thinner. Joy became a ghost. You were present in the room, but absent in the body. You thought you were hiding it, but your nervous system was keeping a score you couldn't pay. Then, physics took over. Not a crisis, just something small. A tone of voice, a minor mistake, and you lost control. Rage that didn't fit the moment, words you couldn't pull back. You asked yourself, what is wrong with me? You told yourself you needed more discipline, but discipline is not the answer. It is the fuel for the fire. Here is the truth no one tells you. The dam was never meant to hold forever. Suppression doesn't make you calm, it makes you brittle. And brittle things do not bend, they shatter. You are not grounded because you are numb. You are just buried. And right now, you are suffocating under the mask you built to protect yourself. So how do you stop the explosion? How do you turn from a rigid stone into something that can actually handle the storm? You have to stop building the dam and start becoming the river. Let me show you how. Your anxiety is not a disorder. It is a notification. And if you've been calling this weakness, you've been reading the map backwards. Here's the truth that changes everything. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's responding. You call it stress. You call it burnout. Your body calls it a warning. You don't smash your phone when it rings. So why do you smash your nervous system when it tries to speak? The moment you stop fighting what you feel is the moment it stops controlling you. Not because the pressure disappears, but because you stop adding the second layer. The pressure of pretending you're fine. Your body is not your enemy. It's the most intelligent system you have. Before your mind forms a sentence, your body already knows. But you were trained to override it. Tension? Push through. Fatigue? Add caffeine. Anger? Suppress it. You didn't lose yourself. You overrode yourself. Boys fight their bodies. Men read them. You were taught to be unmovable. A rock. But under pressure, rocks don't stay grounded. Groundedness is not the absence of chaos. It's presence inside it. Calm is open. Bracing is closed. If you are bracing, you're not grounded. You're just delaying the break. Isolation is not strength. It never was. Independence without connection isn't power, it's exile. So let me ask you something uncomfortable. When pressure peaks, who do you actually talk to? Not the surface version, not the joke. Who knows the real weight you're carrying? If the answer is no one, listen carefully. Survival mode will keep you alive. It will not let you live. Insight won't save you when the pressure is already in your chest. Thinking won't stop a reaction. We have to go tactical. Insight won't save you when pressure is already in your blood. Forget 30-minute meditations. Forget gratitude journals. Those are for peacetime. This is wartime. In war, you don't need theories. You need mechanics. Simple, brutal, effective. This is not motivation. This is biology and control. 1. The 5-second interrupt. When pressure spikes, your primal brain hijacks the system. You have a narrow window, 5 seconds before you become a passenger in your own body. That is when careers are destroyed. You must interrupt the circuit physically. Freeze. Feel your feet hard on the floor. Take one tactical breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, twice as long. Why? The long exhale triggers the vagus nerve, sending a chemical signal of safety to your panicked brain. You aren't calming the storm. You are regaining the steering wheel. 2. The morning lock. Mechanism: cortisol and dopamine regulation. Morning cortisol is at its peak. If you grab your phone first, you spike cheap dopamine and force your brain into reactive mode all day. Grounded men don't rely on willpower. They rely on barriers. Every morning, no phone, no input. Just 10 minutes. Sit, breathe, run a system scan. Where is the tension? What is loaded in the chamber? This isn't spiritual. This is tactical mindfulness. You are checking the gauges before pushing the engine to redline. Skip this, and you lose the day before it starts. 3. The pressure valve. Mechanism: affect labeling. Neuroscience is clear. Labeling a negative emotion drops activity in the brain's fear center immediately. But distinguish this. Complaining is asking for pity. That is toxic. Venting is data dumping. That is essential. You need a debrief. Clear the cache. Speak it to yourself or a trusted ally. This situation is clouding my judgment. Name it. Don't dramatize it. Pressure that has no exit will eventually destroy the container. 4. The release port. Mechanism: completing the stress cycle. Stress isn't just a feeling. It's a chemical in your blood. You cannot think it away. You have to burn it. The body doesn't understand calm down. It only understands expend energy. Give it a physical exit. Violence directed effectively is therapy. Lift heavy iron, sprint until your lungs burn, hit the heavy bag. You are simulating the fight response to prove to your biology that the danger has passed. Men who don't build a release point become the release point. 5. Redefine the win. Most men fail because they measure the wrong thing. They ask, did I lose control? The better question is, did I stay present? You don't win by numbing the pressure. You win by staying operational inside the chaos. Interrupt the body, lock the morning, vent the valve, burn the excess. That isn't theory. That is the protocol. It's 3 a.m. again. The room is quiet. The pressure is still there, but something is different. You're not fighting it anymore. You feel your feet on the ground. You take one slow breath, and for the first time, you don't treat the pressure like an enemy. You realize something. Groundedness isn't about never falling. It's about knowing how to land. 5 years ago, 3 a.m. was where you broke. Tonight, it's where you return to yourself. No panic, no performance, just presence. You understand now. The pressure isn't going anywhere. The only thing that changes is whether you keep running or learn how to stand inside it. And that is the final truth. The storm didn't stop. You just stopped shaking. The protocol has been given. The rest is your choice. If this speaks to the man you are becoming, join the Brotherhood. Subscribe. The protocol is yours. Execute.